Find the people that will show you the strength that you have in your heart, that will guide you to the presence of God, and that will lead you along this path. Give a little bit of context to the story. I was a general contractor. I had begun to take jobs on my own, and I had just found a client that had more work than I normally take, including refinishing a floor, doing some tile, doing several different aspects to this house. And I needed the work so badly that I went ahead and took the job. I gave the bid to the best of my understanding for that job. It was way under what I should have been. I'd been working long hours. I was also putting together a wedding. And so, both working on this job and putting together the wedding, and all of our family had come to town. So my parents were there, and all of my wife's family were there. And here I was still working on this job. And it ended up being that my wife's best friend was there cleaning the grout on the tile. The next day, my dad came and helped me as I continued to finish off the floor. And as I kept finishing this project and looking at how much money I was making on it, it was half of what minimum wage was at that time, just because of how many hours I had to put into this job. And that feeling of, I don't have enough energy to finish this job well. The client is unhappy. All of my family and friends are unhappy with me because I'm working instead of putting together the wedding. And this feeling of just being stuck in this place of not being able to make anybody happy, not being able to have enough time, and just really paralyzed in this place of frustration and worry. Is this going to get better? Am I even going to be able to get married? The pressure of all of those difficult situations just pushing in against me. Not only was I worried about finishing that job, I was worried about both covering the expenses of the wedding, but also covering for providing for my wife in the future. I didn't understand all of the different components that I needed to be part of to do the business well. The only thing I knew was how to do the work. And everything else, I was just figuring it out on my own, struggling through this whole process. I was feeling very stuck, very hopeless, very discouraged. I look back at how difficult it was and how pressed I was. But I definitely see now, from hindsight, the hand of God moving through it all. How He was guiding me through, how He was giving me the tools to learn construction better, how He's giving me the tools to understand myself better. Through that whole challenge, I also really learned that I needed people around me. I needed community, and I needed people that were further down the road that could guide me, that could lead me, that could encourage me, that could share truths, that I could understand what was going on. And I really found that if I could take who I am now and be able to speak to the person that I was then, I would really speak to them and say, find a community, find some guys that are in this place or that have gone down this road that you can pray with, that you can talk with, that you can really connect with. I could encourage myself to say, if you have these people in your life, you will be able to overcome these obstacles in a far easier, in a less anxious, discouraged, and frustrated way. I look at this challenge that I'm creating for people, and I look at myself back then. If I could have spoken to that person and said, join a community like the challenge that I'm putting together, and begin to read the scripture more regularly, begin to spend more time in God and in community, I know that I would have had a much easier time. Know that I would have been stronger, I would have been able to face the challenges, would have been able to increase my understanding of the construction field, and maybe cut off some of the years that I took in frustration and just underbidding jobs and that whole challenge of working alone and living alone and really having this whole pressure of the world caving in on me. I wasn't really alone. I was with my wife, but she also had her own concerns. She could barely get out of bed to go to work, and so she had her own pressures that she needed to focus on. So I couldn't really rely on her or lean on her for the help that I needed either. And so being in this place of isolation, of frustration, of discouragement really is what I don't want for you. I don't want you to be in this place. If you are in this place of experiencing this discouragement, this frustration, this pressure, this isolation, I want to come alongside you. I want to be able to be somebody that can help you, that can guide you, that can say to you, hey, it's going to get better. And God is faithful. There's two scripture verses that really come to mind that give me the strength and the assurance about this. One is that his ways are higher than my ways. In Isaiah 55:8, it talks about how God's ways are higher than my ways. I know that if I was able to go back to that person, I probably would have given him different situations or changed how it was when he went through those challenges and made my life easier. But I know now that if that had happened, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at now. I connect that scripture verse of his ways being higher than my ways to the second scripture verse, which is in Jeremiah 29:11. It talks about how God has plans for us, and those plans are to bring us into our future, a future of prosperity. And through these difficult situations, I've really learned that it wasn't just financial prosperity, but that it was really strengthening my character, strengthening my understanding of who I was and what it is that He's called me to do, and taking me to a place where I am much more confident in who I am and what I need to do in the world, and that those things are way more important than just getting me out of the situation at the time. That I can really learn from that in a way that I couldn't have if I hadn't gone through those situations. But I do know that going through those situations alone wasn't his plan for me. I know that he had a community for me. Just the fact that you're watching this video means that God has a community for you. Maybe it's not my community, but he has a community, and seek out those people that will help you continue to seek his presence to really get you to where he has put that same strength and character into your life. So thank you very much for watching this video, for hearing my story. Consider joining my community. Consider getting the 30-day devotional, but take this as a challenge. The next step that you need to take if you're in a place where you don't know what the right answer is, or you feel like you don't have the strength to meet the challenges that you have, is get into both the presence of God. Find the people that will show you the strength that you have in your heart, that will guide you to the presence of God, and that will lead you along this path of prosperity. Not just prosperity financially, but that prosperity of heart, where you will know that you have what it takes to meet the challenges that come your way. Thank you very much. If there is any way that I can partner with you or help you through what's facing in your life, let me know. I'm available on unresolvedtangents.com. You can book a 15-minute call with me. You can join my 30-day challenge. There's a lot of different ways that you can connect with me on that website. You can also let me know what you thought in the comments. And if you can, subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much for watching and being part of this journey.